Hong Kong's very own Sasha Palatnikov. How are you, mate? Great to see you. What a debut it was in the UFC. Fight of the night bonus, massive knockout. It kind of went as good as it could have gone. It was a dream, and still buzzing about that one. And now you're back in action. UFC Fight Night coming up in April, and it should be a good one. Impa Kasanganay, 8-1. A nice challenge for you again. How's everything going?
Good man. Feeling good. In a much better, let's say, physical well-being than I was coming into my debut. It was a 2.5 week notice coming off COVID, so we had to get into afterburners quickly. But for this one, I've been working on a few things. Putting on a little bit of size and strength, but as well as keeping my speed. Apparently I was undersized for the division when I first signed, but now with the UFC providing that food, I was able to bulk up a little bit, and I'm feeling really good. Camp has pretty much started, so I'm feeling really good at this point going into camp. So I'm really excited for what how I'm going to be feeling in 5 weeks from now.
It's a crazy one that you had COVID so soon before your debut. Is it interesting for you with all this news around with Khamzat, the fact that he's going to retire and now he's not retiring, but ultimately he wanted to retire because of the effects of COVID. Now, it's difficult to debate because it affects people differently, right? Some people are absolutely fine. And I heard that some people's lungs can turn into Swiss cheese, and it's terrible. I think Cody Garbrandt's been suffering a little bit as well. But was that weird for you, seeing that play out, knowing that you had a fight 2 weeks after having it?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, we're not all the same, and everybody's different. But at the same time, I feel a lot of it, at least from my outside perspective, I could be wrong. But just what it seems like, maybe from Khamzat's point of view, maybe he was doing things he wasn't supposed to be doing when he should have been resting. And he's also a younger guy and full of energy and just wants to go. So sometimes it's even harder to just sit back and not do anything. At this point in my career and just in my life, I know how important it is to be as close as it is to be 100% when you do fight. So I would rather sacrifice grinding my body into the ground, knowing that I'll be fighting in 5 weeks' time. Obviously, that has to be the correct word, but at the same time, when you're sick or you're not feeling well, you just got to tell yourself, "Hey, I got to make sure I'm feeling as good as I can," because going in and fighting and training to be in a fight is some of the hardest thing you can put your body through. So, I feel like he just needs to kind of put 6 months where he can just let his body recuperate, heal, and then hopefully he will be back. It's shocking that he's been going through the kind of after effects of it, because touch wood, everything's been pretty good for me. But again, this is a whole new thing that we're all experiencing. So we're pretty much the first. We're the science. We're the experiments here. So we'll see how things go and how things unfold. But hopefully everybody will recover and be healthy.
Going back to your UFC debut, it was amazing. I think you got the appropriate response from the media and the fans as well. What was the process like about you finding out about the bonus, and did you get a good word at all from Dana? Like, what was the aftermath like, and also back home in Hong Kong, what was the reaction for you from getting that bonus, getting such a statement win?
I went into the fight, the most important thing was to win the fight, but I didn't really think too much about the bonus. Matthew, he was saying I was going to be walking away with a bonus on my debut, and I was like, it's the last thing I'm thinking about. I just need to go out there and make sure I win. And the after effect of it all, I mean, literally, I was the first fight, and talking to people backstage, the doctors, they were like, "Man, that's fight of the night." And I'm like, "Dude, there's like, I don't know, 11 more fights to go. So don't jinx it, And I just kind of went about the evening just embracing, the whole experience, talking with the media and stuff. It didn't even really cross my mind until I was at home and watching the rest. And then, I kind of was talking to a couple people and was like, hey, were there any like good fights? Like, because I was still catching up. And I think I tuned in on Valentina's fight. And that wasn't too exciting. And I was like, oh, just got the main event and like things were looking good. And I was talking to my manager, and then finally, like, the result happened, and I was like, oh man, like surely, like, Figueiredo will get a bonus for that. And then not long after that, I think Dana White announced it. I've had no communication with Dana since I've arrived in the UFC. But there's a story, because I spoke to Dana in 2016 at UFC 200 during the fight week. That was the big calamity with John Jones and DC. But I got invited by a friend of mine. That was my first ever UFC experience, and I happened to talk to Dana, and I told him that I would be, Hong Kong's first. Keep an eye out, that kind of thing. I'm sure he's heard it a billion times, but I actually, that was my first meeting with him. So unfortunately, I didn't cross paths with him because he wasn't watching when I fought. He came in a little bit later. But yeah, I mean, it would be great to talk to him and just be like, hey, I know you don't remember, but it happened. And, hopefully we'll be seeing more of each other in the future,
Well, absolutely, especially if he can get another kind of victory, another kind of performance like that. So Kasanganay is a legit talent by all regards. He was on the end of a viral knockout against Joaquin Buckley. Everyone remember that's the only loss on his record. He's fought at middleweight a lot. So what do you make of him? This is an interesting challenge for you.
Yeah, he's I've watched I think I watched Impa fight but randomly on the Contender Series. I've been aware of him, and then he made his debut against Maki Pitolo. I remember seeing him and saying, oh, he's a small middleweight. He's like 5'11", 73-inch reach. He's lean, but I wouldn't say, he's not a big middleweight. And and when the call came in, I was like, oh, I thought he was a middleweight, and this is his first fight at 170. He's never fought at 170 before. I looked at his record, so this will be his first. He's a lean guy, so it'll be interesting to see how he does making the weight. But I think it's a good fight for me. He's a name. He's pretty popular in the States. So he's a talented athlete. He's got a great record. I think he's currently training out of Sanford right now. So I think I've got a good idea of what I'm going to expect. Strong guy, powerful. But I think I like this fight. I like how our styles match up. I like my abilities and what I think that I can do, especially with my movement. And yeah, I think it's going to be an exciting fight. I ain't gonna go and wrestle him, so unless he comes out and shoots on me, which is most likely gonna be the outcome. It's gonna be a banger. I'll put my hands on him. I'll put 8 limbs, put everything if I can. I'm gonna put on a show. I've had so much time to prepare in comparison to my debut. So I definitely want to make an impact, and I think Impa is the perfect name to put on that impact. On a card that I think will bring a lot of viewers. It's Darren Till and Marvin Vittori. Hopefully, I can get in the middle of that card. Maybe not at the beginning. Work my way up. Hopefully, we'll be middle of the card. Maybe somewhere in the middle of the prelims. Maybe main card. That'd be amazing. But hopefully, we get some eyes and people will enjoy the show. And I think it'll be a good one.
Have you set yourself some goals for the year, or are you just taking everything as it comes? I mean, I guess there's two different kinds of people of how they live their life, but I mean, you can't be too far away with another big performance, getting those main cards, looking towards a ranked fighter in the near future. Have you got a plan in your mind how you want it to go? I mean, MMA has a habit of kind of undoing all the plans, right?
Of course. It'd be I guess bashful to say, oh, I'm going to do this, and this, and go here, but the I guess traditional is, take it one fight at a time. I got a tough opponent in front of me, but we can go off of similarities that are currently going on in the MMA, UFC picture. Chris Daukaus, he went 3 in a row, 3 finishes. He's ranked number 10. Welterweight division is maybe a little bit deeper. But I do expect if I can knock off 3 good results, 3 finishes, it should put me knocking on the door of a top 15 or at least a big name fight, So I'm taking it one fight at a time. I know where I am right now, like at least with my level, and I like where I am. So I just need to be active, stay healthy, and this opportunity in April is perfect. I would love to finish out 2021 with maybe 2, if I'm lucky, 3 fights. But if I could have 3 fights this year in the UFC, that would be amazing. 3 wins, and then maybe 2022 we're knocking on that door where we're knocking on numbers. So that's pretty much the goal. I mean, the goal is to fight the champ, whoever the champ is at that moment. Fight the best. I'm working my way up. I like kind of this way that I've came in on the debut off the Contender Series guy. Now I got a guy that he's won in the UFC, he's lost in the UFC, he's a Contender Series guy. So they're also kind of giving me levels. I kind of like that. So let's just keep leveling up, fight harder guys, and just keep having fun while we do it.
Is there any bucket list guys for you who you kind of came up watching, like your Robbie Lawlers, that kind of thing? Is there anybody who would be like an amazing one for the bucket list?
I don't know. To be honest with you, my eyes are just like I think like anyone can get it. Like that's how I feel. I respect a lot of I respect everyone in the UFC. There's no one I don't, but I'm just looking at good fights, fun fights, fights that are gonna make sense to get me where I want to go. Like a big money fight against McGregor. I mean, sure, but who doesn't want to get paid? But in terms of like personal and in terms of like respect of the way that they fight, a Wonder Boy, because he's like such a technical stand-up striker that I respect so much and I've looked up to since I was a young fighter. So that would be like interesting, kind of to experience someone that good and see where I would match, and there was a time where I almost had the opportunity to cross train with him at a point in my career, but it never, materialized. So that would be something that would be something very cool. But yeah, I mean, anyone that you're fighting in the top 5 is most likely going to be a legend or is currently a legend. So that's all I'm looking for, but I'm not looking to jump ship. I mean, look, if I TKO or knock out my next opponent, are we talking Khamzat hype train right now? I mean, that's the reality of like you getting 2 or 3 knockouts in a row and all of a sudden you got this train rolling. And I already believe that my abilities are at that level. So let them give me whoever I have to beat, and then once I'm there, then I'll start to challenge the best in the world, and that's what I've been trying to do my whole life, is get to that level. So keep the ball rolling and we'll get there.
I'm going to be watching with interest. It's so cool seeing a Hong Kong fighter represent in the UFC for the first time ever. Amazing stuff. Good luck with the rest of your camp, man. Always good to talk to you. All the best.